A person who has no knowledge about religion, but who goes looking, is indeed like a lost mushroomer. He collected mushrooms, collected knowledge, collected perhaps some resources, collected earthly happiness, and suddenly he sees that he got lost. People, as it turns out, die, and he thought for a while that others die and he would live forever, and then it hurts somewhere in liver or spleen, and he started thinking, where is the sense of life? Some say there is God, others say there is none. It is some foolishness and nothing more. Fantasies. And he started asking round. Indeed, some says this and others say that. And what do these letters say? I mean those who say that there is God. He doesn't yet believe in anything. What do they say? They say very simple things. Take a look. Just take a look. Life. How did it appear in the first place? How could it have appeared? Did you think about it or not? Well, how? I remember from school that it appeared on itself as a result of millions or billions of years. Really, by itself? I will tell you now. Don't trust me. Trust the scientists. What do they say? They say the following: the probability that the life of a DNA molecule appeared on itself is 10 in the minus 8,000th degree. It's 80,000 zeros. Could it have happened? It appeared on itself, indeed. The probability that the life appeared from a connection of already existing molecules is 200 in minus 255th degree. The mathematicians calculated the probability that life appeared on Earth. According to the laws of numbers, we had no right to appear, and if we did appear, we shouldn't have survived. And a believer says, what do you think? Imagine billiards of letters falling down from above. How soon an encyclopedia will appear? Any encyclopedia. A Soviet one, a theologian one? Well, no. And what about a color TV? Will it get collected if details fall? No. So one living cell is millions times more complicated than any TV set, encyclopedia, computer. So how could it have all appeared just from atoms falling down? And they got organized. Even this is impossible. One boy, having come from school, announced to his father, "Dad, there is no God. Our teacher told so." He said, "Oh, so interesting. Yeah, indeed. I didn't know that. Okay, okay, I will know, thank you." Next morning, Dad came out and drew some circles, squares, some geometric figures. And then son came out and said, "Dad, take a look, someone drew these figures." "What? These figures? What? But it appeared all on itself." "Really? It is impossible." "Oh, impossible. Even this is impossible." And life appeared on itself. Imagine what you are comparing. here is the comparison. If there is higher intelligence that is called God by religion, and there is nothing, why it doesn't exist? Why does it exist? Take a look where the probability is greater. Just life, this beauty that Pythagoras called all this world cosmos, that is translated from Greek as beauty. Everybody has been impressed by it. Could it have appeared all by itself? This is a very strange faith. Everybody should realize that there is intelligence, perfect intelligence that could have created what we see. So you see, science, it means anthropic principle from the word anthropos, a human being. A human being is a reasonable being, and science claims there is anthropic principle in the world. That means that it has been all done intentionally. So with rationality, a lot of scientists spoke of it. The anthropic principle claims in such a way the probability of a cell could appear on itself is at least the same as some monkey would 400 times type the full text of the Bible without a single mistake. It would be a genius monkey, but without a single mistake. Unbelievable. Who could suppose that? No one. Atheist says yes. Yes, a monkey could print the Bible 400 times. As for the probability, to talk of probability, let's imagine a different picture. Let's imagine a very clever mathematician at table, very clever, and a curtained window. And behind that window there is a giraffe walking round. I can imagine a horse, but a giraffe with a long neck, a neck of 3 or 2 meters. And a student walks in. He has a pass-fail exam. He would like to be asked about a giraffe, but this is highly unlikely. And professor says to a student, prove that there is a giraffe. Such a question was not expected from a mathematician, but prove a giraffe exists. And he started to say the following: a giraffe cannot exist. The reason is simple. A neck is so long. Where does it live? In Kenya, in Africa, there are many lions, leopards. They would have bitten this long neck, and the giraffe couldn't protect itself. What would it do in face of a lion? It is impossible. Such a long neck. So all the vascular system couldn't survive. The student is in despair. He should prove, he must prove there is a giraffe. So he collected his thoughts and said, dear professor, let's find out what means to prove something. Okay, go on. So, what it means to prove existence of some real thing? How we can prove what it means to prove existence of some real object? It means to convince, to show, to demonstrate that it exists. How we can do this? by two ways only. First is the easiest one. Believe. You should trust someone who saw. Professor says, yeah, you can believe or you cannot believe. Why should I trust everybody that they saw a giraffe? Student doesn't give up and says, okay, dear professor, there is another way. All right. The following. We should offer a real way to check this suggestion, and a person will be able to make sure themselves. You, dear professor, do not believe that there is a giraffe. Please go to the zoo and make sure. I will pay for your ticket. Just give me the best grade. Professor is absolutely happy. I will give you the best grade. You did prove, indeed. What it means to prove? They often say, please prove there is God. Ask a question, what does it mean to prove? What does it mean to prove that something exists? There are just two ways to do this. Either you trust people who are undoubtedly honest. One person can make a mistake. No, there are many people claim something or someone exists. I saw, and I saw. You either trust, or in the end, if you can't, you can say you should do this and that to make sure yourself that it is so indeed. So you understand what it means to prove. To prove means to give someone a chance to make sure themselves of something. Once in our academia, the head of the Institute of Scientific Atheism came here. We had a conversation, and I won't tell his name. He is a philosophy doctor. I said, we exchange opinions, but I have a question. And the question is not mine. These terrible students they just can't leave me alone. There is one question only you can answer. I can't. What? They keep asking me, what should we do to make sure there is no God? He is a clever person, and he understood all the strength and cunningness of this question. What can we do to make sure there is no God? What? To become a scientist. I will enumerate you a few scientists. Starting Коперник,
Ньютон, Ломоносов, Гальвани, Вольта, Ампер, Мендель, Дюма, Ковалевская, Пастер, Попов, Менделеев, Павлов, Флоренский, Шмидт, Шрёдингер, Филатов, Лука, Война и Синецкий, Леметр, Гейзенберг, Бройль. Бесчисленное количество.
An endless number of scientists.
Это звезды первой величины.
These are the stars of science, those who are number one scientists of the world science, who claim, I do believe there is God. What should one do to make sure there is no God? The main question to atheism. Atheism claims there is no God, and it can't answer its own main question, something it is based on. He couldn't answer, and I said, I know the answer. You should go to a rock concert. I was in the United States once at 1 a.m. I opened a door
захлопываю
Then I shut
и
it
говорю американцам,
closed,
кто не
and
верит,
I
что
said
есть
to
ад,
Americans,
пусть сюда
if you
посмотрит.
don't believe there is hell, just take a look in here.
Но коли есть ад, значит есть
If
рай,
there is
правда?
hell, there is also
Значит,
paradise.
атеизм не отвечает
Atheism
на самый
doesn't
главный
answer
вопрос.
the main question.
На тот вопрос, без
The
которого
question
все это
without
мировоззрение
which all this
рушится, как
viewpoint,
карточный.
all this worldview falls down
А религия?
as
А религия
a
только и
car
знает, что
house. It
твердит.
just
В
collapses,
соборах, книжках,
and
всюду
religion
только и твердит. Все
keeps
проповедники,
repeating, all the
учителя,
preachers,
вот, что
teachers,
нужно сделать, чтобы убедиться, что
lecturers,
Бог
you
есть.
should do
Человек,
this and
вот
that to
путь.
make sure there is God.
Чтобы узнать, что
Dear
жираф
person,
есть.
there is
Вот
a
путь,
way.
вот
Here is
средство,
a way
вот
to
билет,
find out
вот
there is a
куда ехать.
giraffe. Here is a ticket.
Зоопарк,
Here you should
Кенийский
go
парк
to
езжай.
zoo,
Вот
to the
где.
Kenyan Park. Here it
Есть,
is.
оказывается, путь
There
к
is
Богу.
a way to God.
Действительно, внутренний путь.
Indeed, an
Есть
inner
путь.
way, there
И
is a way,
множество, бесконечное
and
множество
many
свидетелей,
and many
таких свидетелей,
witnesses,
которые в мыслях
such witnesses
боялись
who
допустить
couldn't
ложь,
let
утверждали,
lies even
Бог
in
есть.
thoughts. They claim that
Многие из
there
них,
is
множество,
God,
миллионы,
and millions
стояли
of
перед
them
выбором.
had a
Или
choice.
говорить, Бог
Either they say there is God
и
and
подвергнуться страшным пыткам и
to
мучениям
have to
и смерти.
undergo terrible tortures
Бог
and
нет.
death,
Бога нет.
or
И
to say
освободиться.
there is no God and to be
Есть
set
и
free.
умирали.
And they said
До
there is
смерти
God and they
исповедовали.
died.
Это что такое?
What is
Это все
it?
сумасшедшие?
Are they all just crazy?
Все эти миллионы и
Millions and
миллионы
millions
подвижников, мучеников,
of ascets,
это все сумасшедшие.
martyrs, are they all crazy?
Простите, может быть, тогда мы подумаем,
I'm sorry,
кто
maybe
более
we should
сумасшедший.
think who is more crazy.
Я ли, когда утверждаю, что
Perhaps
Бога
me
нет,
when I claim
за
there is
чашкой
no
кофе?
God,
Или эти люди
while
перед
drinking
лицом
coffee,
жутких страданий и
of these
смерти,
people
которые
facing
утверждают, и это не
tortures and death.
единицы, все,
These
где
are
угодно
not
найдутся
single
единицы,
people. We can
которые
find
готовы умереть за
single
какую-то идею.
people anywhere who
Десятки,
can
там
die
сотни,
for some
тысячи, но
idea.
найдутся.
Hundreds
Здесь
maybe,
бесконечное
but here
множество
an
людей,
endless number of
которые
people
пролили свою кровь.
who spilled their
за
blood
веру.
for faith in God.
И это уже
This
такие масштабы, которые
is the
совершенно
scale
очевидно
that is
свидетельствуют, что
evident
люди уже не
to
просто
testify
утверждают это,
that
что им
people
кажется,
didn't
что
just
есть
claim
Бог.
they
Вы слышите?
think
Совсем
there
нет.
is
Не
God as it
кажется,
seems
что
to
есть
them.
Бог,
It
а
doesn't
есть
seem to them,
Бог.
but no, there is an affirmative
Убедились,
yes,
что
they are
Он есть.
positive
Они
there is
пережили
God.
всем своим существом.
They
И
felt it
пережили
and
так,
lived it with all their
готовы
essence
жить,
and
как
in
хотят.
such a way that they're
Как
ready
говорил
to
Серафим
give away
Саровский,
their life for
преподобный,
this. As Reverend
тот,
Seraphim
кто
Sarovsky said,
ощутил Бога,
a person
ощутил
who
то Царство Божие,
felt God
которое внутри
and the kingdom of
человека
heaven that is
готов
inside a
был бы
person would be
тысячи
ready
лет
to live
жить в
thousands
келье,
of
наполненной
years in a
червями
room
и всякими
filled
гадами,
with
которые
worms
грызли бы его
who
ежеминутно,
would bite
лишь
them
бы не
all the
потерять
time
только это благо.
in order not
И
to
верно.
lose
В житиях святых мы
this
находим, как тот же
kingdom of
великомученик
heaven.
Евстратий,
Indeed,
например, говорил,
we find
когда с него
Martyr
сдирали
Евстратий,
кожу,
who had his
представляете, и
skin
поливали
torn off
горячим
from him,
маслом.
and oil,
Вдруг
hot
воскликнул:
oil,
мучения
was
эти
being
суть
spilled on
радость
him. He said,
рабам
these
твоим.
torches
Вера,
are
надежда,
my
любовь.
happiness.
Надеюсь, читали, может быть,
And there
то
are
же
other,
самое утверждали.
other martyrs who
Ты
claimed the
представьте себе,
same.
какой бы
And please
подвижник
imagine
смог бы
which
вынести ту
believer
жизнь,
could
в которой
just
находился. Вот
could
преподобный
just
Сергий, здесь
survive the life
Лес
they were
дремучий,
living, like forest,
звери,
animals,
тьма,
darkness,
стужа зимой. Летом
frosts,
комарики одни, с ума сойдешь.
and just the
Правда, эти
mosquitoes in
проклятые
summer,
комары?
those terrible
Страхи
mosquitoes,
какие.
those
Ого,
horrors around.
кто это
Who
может
could do that?
перенести такое если у него внутри
if inside
не горит такой
there
мощный
is
огонь
no fire
присутствия Божия,
of God's presence,
никто не может.
no one could ever do
И
this.
таких подвижников
And there
неисчислимое
are numerous monks of the kind,
Христианство указывает
and the
путь
Christianity
приобретения
shows a way how one
указывает путь, чего
should
приобретения?
gain this,
Познание
how a
Бога.
person can
Познание
get to
Бога.
know God.
Вот к чему указывает путь христианства. Да, ты хочешь знать?
You want to know,
Пожалуйста, с
please,
удовольствием.
with great
Где эти истинные
pleasure.
люди?
Where
Где
are
покажи?
these sincere people? Please show me.
Где он, этот человек,
Where
который
is this
искренне
person
хочет
who sincerely
увидеть Бога?
wants to see God?
Покажите его.
Please show them.
Знаете, почему я спрашиваю?
You know why I'm saying
Почти
this?
не осталось
There are
таких
almost
людей.
no people of the kind.
Как-то одного спросили святого, почему же не
One
стало
saint was
святым
asked, why
стать
there are no
духовником?
saints
Он
anymore?
ответил, не
And he
стало
said,
послушников.
there are no saint teachers
Серафима
because there are no
Саровского спросили,
pupils who would like to follow them. Reverend
потому
Seraphim
что
said,
нет
because there is no
решимости.
decisiveness,
Мы живем, как плывем по реке,
determination and perseverance.
как
We live
чурка
as it
плывет по
goes,
реке, куда течение
like the
несет,
river flows,
туда и плывет.
and we follow
Где
it.
он, человек,
Where
этот?
is the
Где он, этот
person,
искренний человек,
a sincere
который ни
person
ради чего-нибудь,
who
а
is
только
looking
ради
for God
истины
not just for
ищет и
something,
хочет
but he just
познать
wants to
Бога,
find
увидеть
truth,
Бога.
to get to know God?
Где он?
Where
Их
are they?
становится всё меньше и
Less and
меньше.
less people are
Кстати,
looking
об
for
этом
God.
предрекали
This was
отцы
prophesied,
древней церкви,
and
первых
the
веков
holy
христианства,
fathers of the first centuries told us
всё
about that.
мельче и уже становится тот
That,
источник,
unfortunately,
тот
the
ручеёк
the
людей,
river of people, the number of
Бога.
people who are looking for
Кто
God would
ищет
become
Бога,
still
тот, если
more
бы
shallow,
это
and the
видел.
stream would become more
Ищут
shallow
немножко
and
так
smaller.
иногда,
Sometimes there
но
are some
остаются
people who are
язычниками по жизни.
looking, but sometimes they
А сразу
remain
забегая
pagans
вперед,
in
скажу
real
вам,
life.
Скажу вам, чем отличается понятие
And
веры
what is the
в
difference of
православии
faith in
от
orthodoxy
понятия веры вне
and
православия?
the faith
Знаете
out
где?
of orthodoxy?
Там, вне православия,
Out of
вера — это
orthodoxy,
что?
faith
Это что?
is
В прямом смысле слова я верю,
is
что есть
belief.
Бог, есть Христос,
In the direct
что
meaning
Он
of the
что-то
word,
сделал.
I believe
Я
there
верю
is
во все
God,
догматы,
there is Jesus
верю.
Christ who did this and that.
Но
I believe all I
каким я
should
был,
believe, but
таким остался.
who I was, I
Когда
still remain
православие
myself
употребляет
with the
понятие
same
веры,
properties. And in the orthodox meaning
оно
of the word of faith,
утверждает, вера —
faith
это изменение
is
жизни.
a change of life.
Мне однажды пришлось читать лекцию в одном
Once
университете, вот так
I
сидят
was
студенты.
lecturing
Задают вопрос, а
students
что
at
такое
one
вера
university, and they
православная?
asked me what orthodox faith was.
Ну, от меня можно ожидать иногда
You
чего
can
угодно.
expect anything from me, I'm
Я
so
взял,
unpredictable.
завопил,
And I
пожар.
started yelling, fire!
Они все в ужасе смотрят на меня.
They looked at me horrified.
Я говорю, а что это вы сидите?
And I said, why are you sitting here?
Ага, не поверили.
Ah, you didn't
А
trust,
если
didn't
б
believe
поверили,
me.
тут же
If
бы вылетели
you
во все двери и
have
окна.
believed me, you would have run
Поняли
out of
теперь, что
here,
такое вера?
out of all doors and windows. You see what faith is. Yes,
Вот о чем говорит православие.
Orthodox
Вера
speaks of
это
it.
изменение
Faith is a
жизни.
change of life.
Какое изменение? По
What
вере.
change?
Пожар?
According to this
Бежать.
faith. Fire? Run.
Вот чем отличается наше
Here is the
православное
difference of
понимание,
our orthodox
само понятие,
understanding,
слышите, само слово вера. От
the
того,
understanding
вы
of the
знаете,
word faith,
стандартного,
of this
обычного,
standard,
бездушного,
regular,
я верю в Бога, я
that
православный.
notion, I
Господи,
believe in
лучше
God, I'm
молчал бы,
orthodox.
чтобы
Oh,
от людей
really?
вы не соблазняли
You would better not
своим
speak.
православием. Он
It's
верит.
difficult for
Давай
people to
выпьем
understand what your
за
orthodoxy is about.
православие.
Let's
Да.
just drink to
Так
orthodoxy.
вот, я попытаюсь сделать вывод из этого.
So I would
Итак.
like to sum up and to make a conclusion.
Вера в Бога имеет
Belief
под
in
собой
God,
основания.
faith,
Какие?
has
По крайней мере, два
has
основных.
fundament and
Первое.
has reasons for it.
Это
grounds for
существование
it.
вот этого
First,
мира,
the existence of this world, space, cosmos, and of a human being first of all. This is an amazing fact. One French scientist, Bonnet, said, "It is enough just for me to look at a person's arm. I'm impressed by the of how complex it is. It is enough to believe there is God. The modern scientists say it is enough to take a look at one single cell. It is so complicated. It is enough to make sure there is God." Indeed, the anthropic principle is the fundamental principle of all life, of the material side of our world. And secondly, the verification principle. It is a scientific principle. The scientific truth is only, I pay your attention, is only something that can be verified, that can really be verified. There are unreal things. For instance, I claim that in constellation of Cancer there are crayfish. Nobody seems to believe. Well, prove the opposite. That's why we call it the constellation of Cancer, because there are crayfish. But you're such terrible people, students. They are saying, "Alexei Ilyich, please, you prove that there are crayfish in that constellation." Oh, and I say, right, you are. There is also a great experience of people who made sure there is God. They understood what great good it is. People who gave their life, who underwent tortures and proved their conviction with tortures, death, and blood. Inner experience. These are the points that are the arguments, very powerful arguments in favor of God's existence. And what now? Now we can talk about other things. But I can't help saying, I have one remark to make. In face of all these things, what is our faith of us, believers? We believe in God. Of course, it is obvious to believe in God. When we see a car, we believe there is someone who made that car. What is so special about it? There is no faith required. The fact that we believe in God, it is just nothing. But the faith of atheists, I just envy them immensely. No grounds, absolutely, but they do believe there is no God. I just can't help wondering, how did they make their faith so strong? Absolutely no grounds, and they keep believing there is no God. Some academics write, you read them, and you think, are these first-year pupils such naive ideas? Where did they come from? Did they come out of a cave? Here is faith. I think that compared to their faith, our faith is just... I don't mean the contents of their faith, but the strength of their faith is remarkable indeed. You see, I said, the strength of their faith. You should believe there are no non-believers. There are believers in God, and there are believers that there is no God.
Я неверующий.
And they say,
О,
I
как
am
вы, как
a
это
non-believer. Oh, this sounds
Я
so
неверующий.
great.
Почему ты веришь, что Бога
Why
нет?
do you believe
Скажи
there
мне.
is no
Давай,
God?
отвечай.
Come
А то
on,
двойку
answer
поставлю.
me.
Ну хорошо,
Okay,
друзья мои. Это вот я предложил некоторые соображения.
these are some
Это только
ideas.
кое-что.
These are just
Так,
some
головном
ideas,
понимал.
just
Ну, нам надо поскакать.
off the top, you
Это
know,
необходимо.
of my head, but sometimes we
Да,
have
чтобы
to do this
познакомиться с
just to
некоторыми
get acquainted
положениями, мыслями,
with some
идеями.
thoughts,
Это нужно.
ideas. It is necessary.
Но вот перед нами с вами же еще сколько там ступеней. Я
But we
даже
have
забыл, как
many
описывается огромное,
steps
кажется, да?
ahead of
Да.
us.
Тут надо, знаете ли, говорить и
We
о
should
том,
speak
что
about
какая же религия истинная. Ой, Боже мой. Я тут
the religion,
помню,
which of
что
them
сказать,
is
да.
true. Here are so many things to tell
Почему
you.
православие там
Why
истинное?
Orthodoxy is
И каков
the true
путь
religion,
духовной жизни.
and what
Всё
is the
это,
way of
ой,
the
как
spiritual
сложно.
life. And this is all
Ну,
very
не
difficult.
знаю, попробуем с вами
We
чуть-чуть
will try
поговорить.
to talk of
Ну,
it a
чуть-чуть.
little bit, but
Вы знаете, есть
just a little
здесь в
bit.
нашей школе специальный курс
Here
истории
at our
религии.
school we have a special course
Религии,
of
представляете?
history of religion
проходится,
on,
ну, не все, я хотел
and
сказать, все
it
религии.
goes
все
through the history
основные
of
религии
all, I wanted to
проходят
say all
эти
religions, but it is
рассматриваются,
impossible,
изучаются.
through the main religions, and they are
И,
being
конечно, там,
looked
когда
through
вы
and they are being
будете
studied.
изучать это,
And
то
when
вы
you will
увидите там
study
большой
this, you will see
фактический
a
материал.
lot of facts.
Увидите их
You
вероучение.
will see the teachings of religions. You will see the moral principles and values. You will see their notions and understanding of God, of a human being. You will see it all in order to be able to compare Christianity and other religions. And it is the question. You imagine how much knowledge you need to have, how fundamentally you have to study Christianity and other religions. A lot of people went through this. It was done by people who looked for God in the beginning of the 20th century. They studied Hinduism, Hindu religions, Buddhism, Judaism, and of course they studied the Muslim religion, partially Judaism, but more probably the religion of the Old Testament. But it is a lot of work. It is too difficult. I guess we're too lazy for this, and it requires a lot of time. Perhaps you heard the name of monk Seraphim Rose. He went through this. He really studied it all. He didn't just study, he studied languages in order to read these sacred books of these religions. It is the way due to which he came not just to Christianity, but even to Orthodoxy, in order to make sure which religion is true. There is one very important and essential question, due to which, and having answered which, we will be able to solve this complicated question. Not because it's complicated as a contents, it's just complicated because the volume is huge. There are many religions. And the question is as follows. Every religion, regardless of which religion it is, can be asked, could you please provide arguments in favor of divine origin of your faith? Which religion is true? That has divine origin, not earthly, not what people could make up. We could make up anything, and many things are being made up. But
А нас-то
We're
интересует
interested
божественное
in
происхождение.
the divine
Ибо
origin
если
of religion,
эта
because if
религия
this
имеет
religion has
своим источником
its
Бога,
source
следовательно,
God as a
она
source,
истинная.
consequently it is a true
Это по
religion.
определению. То, что
By
нас интересует.
notion,
Истина – это Бог.
God is truth.
Вот какой вопрос
God is
мы должны
truth, and
поставить.
this question should be asked
Каждой из религий.
to every religion,
И послушать, что
and
они
we should
ответят.
listen to their answers.
Не забудьте это.
Don't forget this question,
Он
please.
вам очень
You will
пригодится.
need it a lot.